up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, this is the house that Lucy Pearl built. State of the game. I am Dan O. I was passing a young man in the hallway once. We started talking about the great supergroup Raphael Sadiq, Ali Shaheed, and Don Robinson, Lucy Pearl, and what could have been with follow-up albums.
Mm.
And I was like, this is my guy. And that's kind of how the origination of this started. So thank you, Kay, for still being here.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, man.
lot of episodes, a lot of beautiful times. So we've got someone who I really feel like is going to be in that Hall of Fame list of people we talk about.
Mm.
Roberta Flack, Don Robinson, people that like if you love the form you love. Brandy, right? Like uh people who know. And this person has one of the most important albums of this year. Yaya Bay, Do It Afraid. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Um, so one of the things I don't know, and I followed your music for a while. Uh, Purchased a lot of it and just really enjoyed it. And Do It Afraid, correct me if I'm wrong here, feels like a culmination of skills record. Uh, where there are things you did well on other records that you're like, I could actually expand on. I could actually build in terms of the craft in different types of sounds, you know?
I would say that's true. Yeah. Well, I'm a recording artist, like I think different types of musicians will call themselves different things, like some people would say they're musicians, some people would say they're vocalists, I'm a recording artist. Like I specifically make albums. That's why I put out so much work, um, because I'm practicing the craft of making an album,
Mm.
um, more than anything else, like I'm always trying to accomplish the song, like I started as a songwriter and not necessarily a singer, and then um people I was writing for it just wasn't working out. So then because I'm invested in the song and I want the song to exist, I started to sing the song myself. And so I had to learn how to sing over the culmination of making these albums. But again, like I'm trying to accomplish the song and 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 I'm trying to accomplish the song because I'm trying to accomplish the album. And every time I do it, I get better at it. Like I get better at singing. I get better at, when I get better at singing, the writing gets better, or I get better at arrangements. I get better, and it's a practice, like anything else. So
Right.
I just keep putting out albums because I'm, I'm trying to make my dream album, which I mean probably won't happen for years, but I get closer and closer to it, you know.
When you say your dream album, what does that mean to you?
Um, this is Quincy Jones quote where he's like, he knew he had like mastered music when he could like write a song that expressed the emotion like exactly. And I haven't gotten there yet.
Mm,
Mm.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, what are you most proud of getting better at?
Uh, I think honesty, like
Mm,
I'm in therapy right now. My therapist says your capacity for self-honesty grows over time, you know? Like I might say, hey, why did you to steal that bag of chips from the store, right? And you might say, because I was bored. And that's honest. That's the truth, right? But there's a deeper
Yeah.
truth, which might be later if I ask you and you've grown a little bit, you might say, because I've fallen pressure, fallen to peer pressure, fallen victim to peer pressure.
Mm.
That's a truth, right? And so then, it's not that you lied, but you couldn't dig deeper. And then one day I might ask you, why'd you steal that bag from the store? And you might say, well, my self-esteem was low, so I fell victim to peer pressure one day because I was bored and the right motherfucker asked me, hey, you want to steal a bag of chips? You know? And so I think as I'm growing as a person, my honesty is growing and I'm more willing to take chances. Um, I think that I'm growing as a singer for sure. Um, and I feel like worthy. I'm feeling more and more worthy of what I'm trying to do, and less like an
Mm.
imposter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I think that stuck with Kay early on when I said was making art is embarrassing. Performing art is embarrassing. Doing art is an embarrassing action just of itself. Um, and you have to, but you realize that the more you stand in that place, kind of the more you improve a little bit, you know? Uh, if you feel like you're about to cry, other people are too, you know? Uh, and it's yeah, it's what do you think your audience gets out of what you do?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I
That's fair. That's fair.
have no idea. I was just talking to someone the other day, like, if you go to a show of mine, there's so many different kinds of people there that, like, I don't know why you're here, but fuck it, you're here. Like, like I don't know,
Yeah.
like, um, I guess like I only know like what the music means to me.
Yeah. Well, I would say, yeah, I can tell you where my standpoint is. I think you think me through to the other side of problems.
Mm, mm,
Uh, and not from a literal, like, professorial thing, but like emotional intelligence, you know? Reprise is an example, right? Reprise, you said, and I'm paraphrasing, of just like, I'm the proof that my parents were in love at one point. Um, and my father abandoned me when my 18th birthday or whatever, left us, left my little sister, a whole deal. And I didn't really get to patch that up fully. You know what I mean? Um, and so hearing that, I was like, oof, I had never thought about that, you know? And it hit and kind of walked me through a different way to look at what was going on. And your music consistently does that for me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm walking myself through shit. So I
Mm.
Right, right, right.
think
Yep. Yeah.
the thing about when you make an album every year is that like I'm not making music from a place of resolve. I'm making music like looking for the resolve, like actively looking for the resolve. And I think in that way, it's like, I don't think I ever have time to really think about like how what this music is going to do for someone else.
Mhm.
Because like I needed to do something for me, like when you're in the plane and it's crashing, you put your mask on first, you know,
Mhm.
and I think I start to gain a relationship with the listener at the shows.
Mhm.
you know, when I like see the music doing things for people, like in the moment when you're playing the show live, like otherwise I think um man, I'm just trying to get through like you
Right.
know and the music industry and like the it's brutal. So a lot of times, like, I mean, especially the past two albums, like, I've just been trying to fucking, like, I mean, even Remember Your North Star, like,
Yeah.
last three fucking albums, like, I've just been trying to survive, like, trying to live, trying to be okay, trying to, like, and like, I'm in different points of my life, all different bodies of work. So I'm trying to survive different things, but I'm just fucking trying. I'm making a new album now. Like
Right. Right.
that's the other thing, you make an album, go right back.
One of the
Mm.
hardest things for an independent artist is you put all this work into trying to make your dream album, but then you've got to equal that work selling it.
Yeah,
And it feels like you've gotten better at selling it over the course of these last three albums. Is that viable?
no. I mean,
No.
I think Remember Your North Star was my big indie moment.
Yeah.
I've had my big indie moment already. I'm in a weird place, because I've actually lost a lot of listenership with Tenfold, which was the album that came after Remember Your North Star. And like, um, you know, I've exhausted the indie space. And
Yeah.
so like I've got to have another breakthrough to sustain my business because I have big bills.
Right.
I have big bills. And the thing about a music career is it's like having a restaurant.
Mm,
It, people look at it like, oh, look at how successful you are. You've opened a restaurant. But if I can't keep the overhead afloat,
Mm.
it's gonna sink. And so
right.
I've spent the last like 2 years feeling like my restaurant's gonna close. Like it's hard. Like I've got to go on a tour in September. What it costs to go on a tour is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And like I've got to make another album like to sustain shit. I mean, I've like I said before, like I like to make albums and like I've got to fund that shit up front because my label, like, they like, we don't think you should put another album out next year. Like, we've got to push this album. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna push this album, but like I need to put another album out. But like I've got to think of a whole nother way to approach everything, or or I'm going to plateau. And when you plateau, you eventually, you
Right.
know,
Spiral down. Yeah.
When you say plateau, do you mean plateau artistically or plateau? What?
um, never plateau artistically, but
Mhm.
the business side is going to plateau.
Mm.
And the thing about it is, it's like people don't understand. Like, okay, when I made Remember Your North Star, at that point, I had like 3 million monthly listeners, right?
Mm,
And like, that's great. Money comes in, da 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 da, but it also creates big bills. It creates big bills. When you scale your business up, you scaling up the bills, right?
Mm.
right.
And then that 3 million dwindled all the way down to like 600,000.
Mm.
Wow.
I still have 3 million bills.
Right. You're still built that
Wow.
that yeah. Yeah.
And if I don't have another breakthrough, I will not be able to sustain. And I'm sitting, it's not that like I'm living like some luxurious lifestyle. I'm sitting here talking to you from a one bedroom apartment.
Sure.
But if I go play a show, I've got to pay for flights, I've got to pay for hotels for not just me, but a band, a manager, and then the flights and the hotels, that's not what I'm paying the band. I gotta pay the band. I gotta pay the manager. The agent gonna take their money off the top. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If I have a record contract, like even with an indie label, even if you get a good deal, right? A good deal, they're gonna give you a loan, and then that loan is gonna be it's gonna come with 15-year 50% interest. You know what I mean? The bank
Right.
don't even do you like that.
Mhm.
So another moment has to happen for me. And I don't know how that's gonna come, but
Right.
it's not gonna be Pitchfork Best New Music anymore. You know what I mean? Because that happened already twice. And the second time it happened, it did nothing for me.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. No, there's it's a great point just in terms of there's so many options for what to listen to now that you can be someone's favorite, and if you release another album that they don't like as much, you can slip all the way down the list.
I mean, it's also because like I've also fallen out of a Spotify algorithm. Um,
Mm,
because that's the other thing, the goalpost always changes, and so the algorithm deprioritized songs that were shorter than a certain length of time.
mm,
So like that also impacted me. I think that like more people are aware of me,
mhm,
way more people are aware of me than um Remember Your North Star came out. Um so in some ways things have grown because there are people who like for a long time there are people who more people were aware of, but I had more listenership, Because like the thing about the music industry is like nobody knows what they're doing as far as like the label, the PR, the this, the that. Nobody knows what they're doing. And because the industry is always shifting so fast that like people don't know how to connect the dots of listenership and awareness.
right. Mhm. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm navigating that.
As the algorithm keeps shifting, everybody's unstable because nobody knows where it's going. Um, yeah, that's crazy, and that's why a lot of a lot of physical media is a big deal now, right? Vinyl and merchandise and people just kind of trying to do that way, but I'm not sure that you can't ignore streaming wholeheartedly, right? Like the money needs to be coming from there as well. Yeah.
I mean, most of it is coming from there.
Right, right.
Yeah. I mean, especially in a recession, who got money to buy vinyl?
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's yeah. So it's keeping a devoted fan base so important. By the way, I love Tenfold. Um, I
Thank you.
thought, whenever I was in a place where I needed to find my confidence and I needed to find my value, I would put on East Side Mommy. That was that song for me. And it yeah, got me where I needed to be, man. That's just a great song, great album. Um, Kate, what did you think going through the discography and checking it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think Do It Afraid is, like you said, the culmination of, the skill set, showing how your skill set has evolved throughout the projects. I did want to ask you, um, so for the second album, Tenfold, what are your feelings about Tenfold? Like when you go back and listen to that project, what do you think about? How do you feel about it?
Mm. I don't go back and listen to it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I haven't listened to that album in a year. I don't know. I don't think I have any thoughts about it. Like, I know it's a good album. I did the best that I could do, and I made it. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You got so much to balance logistically. You don't have time to sit with this old stuff, compare it to the new stuff, and think about the journey, it seems like.
Um, I mean, sometimes I will say Do It Afraid is probably the album that I've listened to the most, like after making it.
Mhm.
Um, I've listened to this album like the most, but I don't want to hear it right now either. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm just like trying to be present, and like
Mhm.
hope that other people listen to it. Uh, I don't know. I guess I'm there's a lot of like grief, I guess, that I'm experiencing right now in like having a dream, having something that I love and commodifying it and having to like really hold on to dear life, to the love that I have for it because um everybody's coming in and like it's like industrialized and like everyone's got their opinions and like nobody knows what they're doing, and then there's this measure of failure and success, and like all of that can make you depressed, and like I felt the really low lows and the high highs and like I'm just trying to like be on stable ground, and like I'm just trying to be okay, like, and I'm not gonna be okay like in the like measuring of my success. And like I know what's got to happen for the business of it all to stay afloat. Like there's got to be this breakthrough to happen. I like
Mhm.
the indie space is not going to support me anymore. And like and I'm also just like a very realistic person, and the like I don't want to hear all that it's going to be fucking okay bullshit.
Mhm. Right,
Like
right, right.
my bills don't say it's going to be okay. Like and like there's also the reality that like I might have to pivot and like go teach music, go get a degree and teach music or some other shit. Like all of this, like it's all on the table for me.
Sure.
And like I know like I'm in an industry where there is no real care, you know.
Absolutely.
Um so yeah, I'm just maneuvering.
And we've definitely talked to guests who said that getting the job, and putting out the music part time was the best thing for them, that they were in a very dark place of having to keep the ball moving, you know, um, and that going and getting a job and being able to kind of do their art with as much fun as they could, right? Because it wasn't paying all the bills, opened things up again. So I've definitely heard that story before. I'm not saying that's
Mhm.
your story, but I've heard that story. Um, so what you're describing definitely fits what they were going through at that time when they were full time. Um, yeah, that's that's rough. I hope the breakthrough happens. It's not anything anybody can predict, um, but there's more than enough songs on here that could be that lightning rod. You know, um, this to me is the most varied album that you have. Uh, and I think in R&B, a lot of times people find a sound and kind of work within that sound. you know? And sometimes that's what needs to happen, right? The album needs to explore a kind of a palette, you know? Um, but just thinking of like Marvin Gaye's I Want You, that has to sound like that. Um, but being able to give a bunch of different looks uh, is is really cool because you're able to now dive into different emotions. Um, when you, I wonder what the relationship is with that, with like your writing, you know, because you're, you know, you rap on this album, like Breakthrough, Wake Up Bitch, like you have a flow on that. How is it? Is it freeing as a writer to be able to switch into these different modes, or do you not even think about it anymore?
I don't think I'm ever thinking about it.
Mm.
Um, I, I think like I mean, and also like with this album, I think that it this is the first album that I've realized that I'm existing in an industry that it's hard for people to conceptualize like who I am.
Right.
But like I'm a black girl from New York. And like not from New York, not from gentrified New York. I'm from New York
Right.
where like you can be on one block and they're playing Alicia Myers and like you literally turn the corner, you're not even a whole block away and they're playing Barrington Levy. And like three houses down from that, they're playing Biggie. And
Mm.
like I don't know, another house down, somebody might be playing Tracy Chapman. Like it's I'm from New York. I'm from old New York where like where I mean blackness in itself is vast.
Mm.
Like and I think that like that is really hard for people to conceptualize that like how vast black is. Like what like every and all things that blackness is. And the thing is it's like you and this is why it's so important to like keep history in books accessible because like
Mm.
when you think about the African diaspora, right? Shit, when you think about the Black American diaspora, because that is a diaspora due to chattel slavery, due to the Great Migration, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
like, what Black people are listening to in New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz, and like, and and what that sounds like, and bounce music, and like when you think about like what Black people are listening to in Baltimore, and like Baltimore club music, which is different from Jersey club music. And
Right.
you think about house music, what's happening just in the difference between house music and you just go a a, a hop and a skip over to Detroit and techno music. You think about like
Right.
what hip hop started as in New York and like how that changed once it got to Atlanta. Like even in America, Black people sonically and culturally are vast. And then once you think about the diaspora and everything that we are doing globally, and so a lot of people were saying, oh, this album is not cohesive. It's just because you don't have an understanding of what Black people are. And
Mm.
Right.
like because it had never even occurred to me that like this was like some big thing. It's like, yeah, like if you go to New York and you go to a party, like you can hear like Summer Walker and fucking Thames at the same party.
Right. 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 Right.
And like that makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes
Yep.
absolute absolutely perfect sense. Or like, two of my favorite artists, Mary J. Blige and Lil Kim.
Mm,
Like there's rapping and there's singing happening on and I'm from a place, one of my favorite people is Mary J. Blige, who like is I think like one of the pioneers of that bridge between hip hop and R&B.
Hmm.
Like it would why doesn't it make perfect sense for me to rap for there to be a little reggae on this, for there to be a little some singing on this, there to be a little bit of everything because like that's natural.
right.
No, was the diversity in sound, was that an intentional thing, or did that happen organically for you?
I think it's a bit of both. Like
Hmm.
and I think the intention is to represent or to come as I am and I'm here to tell my story.
Hmm.
But like I can't do that without these sounds. These sounds are important to the story.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I really worry about the history getting lost. I really worry about it. Like, we're in Maine, me and Kay, and so we are far away from that like world of all these different sounds that you described. And my son is growing. He's 12 this month, a few days, and he's starting to get into rap music. I just wanted him to know where things were coming from, you know? Like, I wanted to play the Missy song and the Ann Peebles sample, the full song. Like, here's where this comes from. Like, I took him, we went to Chicago, we went to Chess Records so he could stand where Willie Dixon stood. Like, that stuff is important to me. So he has at least a little context, as much as I can give him, right? About what you were describing, like people moving through Chicago and the blues and all that. Um, just a little bit, as much as I can do because the if you're not watching documentaries or reading books, you're not going to have that context. It's not really front and center like that.
I mean, yeah, I think that is intentional. I think
Mhm.
that is intentional. Um, I mean, we could call a spade a spade. Like the music industry is racist.
Sure.
The music industry is racist. Like, all the way we go all the way back to like race records, like you might have a black uh person that sings it, but you can't have black people on the cover of the record because nobody's gonna buy it. And then eventually, like somebody white's gonna come and like sing the same song again and it's gonna sell more. Or, even now, like when you think about R&B and what's happening with R&B, right?
Right.
Now everything is alternative R&B, right? And like that's racism. You know why it's racism? Because then that all gets bled into the indie space, right? And like the indie space has been co-opted by whiteness. And like what I mean by that is that okay, you have hip hop, you have R&B, right? And these are spaces that like can never be like fully co-opted by whiteness because R&B and hip hop like requires some sort of narrative of struggle, right? And like
Mhm.
blackness is synonymous with struggle, right? And like s- blackness is synonymous with struggle, is synonymous with poverty, is even if it's not true, it's just like that is what we live in, that
Mhm.
that's the narrative. And everything else is like intelligent and nuanced. And you have people online saying shit like, "Oh, well, that's too intricate to be an R&B record. It's not just R&B, right?" And
Right.
like that type of language is dangerous because then shit that is actually R&B or shit starts getting funneled into alternative R&B, which starts getting funneled into, you know what I'm saying, places where white people are the gatekeepers. You know what I mean? And like that now, like if you make electronic music, You know what I mean? You have to go through white publications and white people for them to say, yes, you have permission to make this music. If you make rock music, if you make country music, if you make folk music. And like now that's starting to happen with R&B where it's like, okay, we can't co-op Jasmine Sullivan's sound. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like everything else, Frank Ocean and da 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 da. Like this music is intelligent, right? And like that's where we start getting into the racism because like intelligence is synonymous with whiteness, even if it's not true. You know what I mean? And by intelligent, they don't mean um they mean academia, they mean institution, they mean you, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so we're seeing this thing where like hip hop and R&B are moving out of pop spaces, you know, unless it's a Justin Timberlake album. I mean, what's that damn boy Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's complicated, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
actually it's not complicated. It's racism, which isn't complicated. Like it's
Sure.
not complicated. It's not complicated. It just how do you beat that? You know, you can't. Or you know, it takes a lot to beat it and it's exhausting.
It is, and you have to stand against it. Just in the like, and what you described with the alternative R&B thing drove me nuts. Kay, when it started, it was like white kids in an alternative band who had kind of crested in the rock space, which was kind of cresting anyway. And then, like you said, Frank Ocean kicks off, everything gets big over there, Daniel Caesar. And then, like, okay, so now we're going to strip down our compositions to like a smooth kind of, it all kind of sounded like 80s Blue-Eyed Soul to me a little bit. Um, but, and it would just be like the white guy singing R&B. And I'd be like, there's 10 R&B records I can name off the top of my head better than this. It's
But the
yeah.
other thing is like, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
The other thing is like this is why it's so hard. The thing the thing that's the most frustrating about it is that people don't know black people, right? Like people don't know black people. People don't have to know black people, right? And but everybody knows whiteness. And so a lot of times there's a white reference for a thing that's really a black thing. Cause like Frank Ocean's music really is just church chords. It's church chords.
Mhm.
Like, uh, what the fuck is that song off of Blonde? Uh, where he's like, there will be mountains, you won't move. That same
Oh, I will always love. Oh, I know what this song.
I
Yeah,
always love.
love
That's
you.
church chords. That's that's church chords. That's why you
Right.
got Kim Burrell singing on there.
Right.
And then he had Bad Religion on the first on Channel Orange.
It's
Yeah.
church chords. Or even when you think about Blue Eye Soul and like that sound from the 80s,
Right.
you can't also think about that sound and think about like that era where like R&B where disco is about to turn back into R&B. So like shit that like Alicia Myers and Stephanie Mills was making
Right.
it's border it's like Dream Girl that's on Do It Afraid.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
people's reference for that is like bubbly pop or you know like 80s pop and shit. But it's like
Yeah.
no, there's always the black version and then there's always like what white people are really good at is making pop, making it more widespread. And so they
Mhm.
they take a few things out and now like it's palatable for everybody. But at the root of it, there's something that came before that. And because we don't know black people and we don't know like history and like white people have a further reach because of the resources, because you know what I mean, there's more white people in America than everybody else. It's like there's a further reach, but there at the end of the day it came from something else. And like that's so important because we lose our ownership that way.
Right. Right.
We lose our ownership all the time that way.
Yep. And what you are describing, like I think people should know, happens in all facets, right? Like when you were describing it, I was thinking about like The Departed is a beloved movie, but when I talk to somebody who loves it, I always ask them if they know it's a remake. It's a remake of a Korean movie called Internal Affairs,
Mhm.
and no one ever knows.
I don't know that either.
Martin Scorsese was not very loud about that. Uh, and so that's that's you know, and that's one of the reasons I've always hated Eric Clapton of like you become the owner of the blues when you're not that person, you know?
I mean, it's like when Channel Orange came out, everyone was like, "Oh, we got to go listen to Hall and Oates." Because, like, there's so many Hall and Oates references. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
are you fucking kidding me? Like, I mean, no shade to Hall and Oates. And I think this is the thing too. It's like Hall and Oates, they're incredible musicians, and so is Eric Clapton.
sure.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with like white musicians existing in this space, but it's like whiteness doesn't know how to share space. Because you can share space. You can be inspired by this and participate in this and without taking ownership of this. Because like you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
mean, you know what
no,
I mean?
it's real.
Like, I mean, for example, like I'm not Asian. I enjoy yoga.
Sure.
You know, I might go get a yoga license and open up a yoga space, but I don't like, and I know a lot of black yoga instructors. Yoga is still like a South Asian practice. You know what I mean? I know lots of black people who participate in Ayurvedic medicine. But like there's something about when something is black
Right.
that it's up for grabs. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just it's about respect. It's about respect.
It's definitely about respect. And I think your criticism of the like when you were discussing how black women are reviewed, I think it was dead on. Absolutely dead on. And it's like I first noticed it in the world of poetry. Like I first noticed it reading reviews from important black women in poetry and being like, "What?" And it was they were always called brave, and it felt like the person reviewing it was scared to review it as if they would a white poet, right? Like scared and I was like, "What is going on? Why are you being so condescending to these people?" And it persists in music criticism as well, certainly. Um, but yeah, I totally understand.
I mean, what the fuck you gonna do? You know, like I think that's the thing too, is like you fight when you can.
Right.
Like the week the album came out, I fought with a few publications. I called out a few people. At the end of the day, you do too much of that, they're gonna call you crazy, difficult to work with, and
Sure.
then you know what I mean? Like I can't beat the system. I'm not and there are gonna be a lot of times when I'm going to fight. You know what I mean? I know that like I can't beat this thing. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna like throw rocks at it.
Right.
At the end of the day, like it's not gonna change in my lifetime. I
Sure.
just have to like do what I can to chip away at whatever I can chip away at and continue to do the work I'm trying to do and pray that like a miracle happens for me, you know? Because like even like any success in the music industry is a fucking miracle. Like
Right.
it's finding a needle in a fucking haystack. Like even the success that I've already had has been a miracle, you know? Um,
Mhm. Yeah. No, I we have to do more of that, of like being able to look at the run, right, that you were on, not just remember that your North Star, but Exodus the North Star, uh, Tenfold, Do It Afraid. It's a hell of a it's a hell of a run of music. It's it's incredible. And with the writing, we've talked about the writing, um, but man, a tiny thing that's mine is so special uh, to me. It's like it captures that moment when a singer pushes themselves and the audience is just quiet and attending it and enjoying that moment. Like I just think it's such a great performance. It's spellbinding every time as at 43 seconds. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, just me and a little ukulele.
Yep.
Mhm.
I love how it ends. You know, choice is amazing. Um has this like cerebral summation of what's going on, but also very gentle and very whisper and like as as assertive as you have been throughout the album, finding ways to accept what you've done and turn it and make it fuel. Um, I just think it's so beautiful that it ends in this kind of gentle way, this gorgeous gentle way. Um, yeah,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's so wild. Like after a while, like talking about the album is so cause like I talked to my A&R and my label about making a new album, and she was like, I'm just worried about, if you make the album now, like you're gonna live a lot of life and you're gonna be like in a different place. Like first of all, it's gonna take me like a year to make the album, right?
Sure.
But it's like no matter what happens, I'm gonna be in a different place after I make an album, because it's like for me, an album is like a processing of things.
Mhm.
And like once you process them, you're different on the other side of that. And I think talking about Do It Afraid, the space that I was in when I made it, like, I had left one label and I was in between labels and I was going to this label that I'm on now, or like hoping to. I was in a space where I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. That after Tenfold, the other label was like, you don't have commercial viability, and like my life, I had just spent like 2 years living as like a full-time artist. I can pay my bills. The thing that I've been fighting for my whole life was to, I can pay my bills from my music. It
Right.
happened for me, you know. I had like accomplished a dream and I worked hard, and my dad died and I didn't look back, and I just kept working. I didn't let it slow me down, and I did all the things right, and it still didn't work, and then I had to do it again. And everything was there. The the desire to like be happy, to find myself, to figure out who the fuck am I now after all of these things happened. The 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 fear, the grief, the gratitude, the like confusion, it was all there. Like, and so I wrote all of these songs from that space. And then, you know, afterwards, like now I'm in a different space. Now
Right.
I'm in a space where like I've outgrown all of that, and I've still got to figure out what the fuck, who the fuck am I now? Where am I coming from? And I'm writing new songs, and I'm living life and I'm paying attention to my life outside of my career, like, because I've neglected a lot of that to be on tour, to do this.
Right.
So it's really the touring, because you're not home, but
Mm.
like I'm home for the summer, and like I'm just digging into myself. I'm going to Barbados for 2 weeks, just
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So I'm just I'm a different person now, It just is what it is. Like there's no like staying the same. Um, fuck, like it just is what
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Uh, you mentioned earlier in the interview about how every album is a chance to I think you used the word resolve. Like nothing ever resolves itself. Like what like looking at Tenfold and Do It Afraid, what do you think are how do I phrase it? Like what do you think there are themes or issues that you're trying to like I guess you could say examine?
I think when I made Tenfold, I was trying to affirm myself. I was, it's funny because all these journalists were saying that like that was an album about grief, but I was absolutely running from the grieving process. It was my
Mm.
dad died, and then I made Tenfold. Like I was in the studio making Tenfold like 30 days after he died. Like there was no um bereavement or anything, and
Mm.
I was like desperately trying to be happy, and there's some sad songs on there, but like I was definitely not addressing grief. And he's lingering on there because he's there's his voice notes and da, da, da.
Right.
Like a lot of those records are dance records. A lot of those records are like I'm trying to like I think tenfold I was running. I was running. I was running for dear life when I made tenfold. Like, and it was the first time that at that point, I'm now a touring musician. I had never been a touring musician before that.
Mm.
I don't know anything about being on the road. And I was on the road the whole time I made tenfold. I was on the road the whole time. Like, and I needed to be like, I needed to escape. I was going to self-destruct if I sat at home, you know? Tenfold was there's nothing like that album because I made that album from a completely different space. Like I like usually I come at albums like thematically. Like Tenfold is not a thematic album. It like it's or at least not intentionally, Like it's an album that I made the album that I could make, you know, where Do It Afraid, I came to that album more willing to feel like the things that I was afraid to feel. I was more willing to open up. I was more willing. And it's not to say that like I wasn't open when I made Tenfold, but I was as open as I could be, which was not as open as I was when I made Remember Your North Star or as open as I was when I made Do It Afraid because I couldn't be. All that I could do was affirm myself and try to hold my head high and try and I was confused. My entire life changed when I made. After North Star, like I went right into making Tenfold. I was not living the same life at fucking all. Like it was like night and day. I went from like being behind on my rent and I hadn't been anywhere out the fucking country besides Barbados, which is where my family's from, like to like I'm all over the fucking world. I'm in Finland. You, you know what I mean? I'm in fucking
Yep.
Finland and like Portugal and like I'm playing shows back to back to back. The only sleep I'm getting is on the plane. Like I haven't been home in months. Like that's the life I was living. And my dad, who I was very close to, like super fucking close to, is not here to see any of this shit or help me through it. Like so yeah, like yeah, tenfold is a completely different fucking I was in a completely different place. And then, Dude Afraid is coming from a space where like I'm acclimated into this life now. And I know I can't keep running from the things I need to process. And so I've got to process them. And also, like, I've got to find real joy and I can't feel guilty for it. Because, when you grieve, there's a period where, like, you feel guilty for, like, experiencing life. There's survivor's guilt that comes in. And, like, I'm tenfold, I'm like, trying to be happy, but, like, you know what I mean? And like dude afraid, I'm like, yeah, like you gotta live life. Life has gotta go on and like go to the party, be in love,
Right.
cry, feel the pain, feel the grief, grieve it, acknowledge what you lost. Like d- get the fuck up and heal. Go to fucking therapy. Like it's a different space.
Yep. And that's one of the things I wanted to be clear in the notes when it said this was the fun in this album matters. It's
Yeah,
it's a critical part of it. Inner Circle matters. You know, Bella Noche's matters. Like those are important to this album because the album isn't just about the kind of contemplative neo soul of Raisins. It's also about Inner Circle. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, all of it is a choice, like the thing about life that I've learned, especially in the last few years, is like everyone in this world is promised grief. And not just the grief of like death, but the growing is grief. You
Mm,
know, like all of it is grief. Everyone is promised loss, everyone is promised pain, but everyone is also promised joy. Like the joy is promised to you. Like they might be fleeting moments of joy, but the joy will come. It's not going to rain every day. It's going to rain. You promised rain, and the sun is also going to come out. And the choice is like, are you going to be with the moment? Are you going to be with the pain, feel the pain? Are you going to be with the joy, feel the joy? It's all a choice. You get to choose. What are you going to do? Like, and the thing is, like, you can't run from the pain. You have to feel the pain. And like, but if you have to feel the pain when the joy comes, like, feel the joy.
right.
So yeah, like the dance moments on the record are important because like that's life. And like that's what I'm trying to like get across is like this is all happening together. Like if you're on TikTok, you scrolling, it's like somebody doing their makeup, right? And cool, okay, we in a good place. Someone's doing their hair. Funny dog videos, boom. Children starving in Gaza, boom. Trump just did some fucking crazy shit,
Right.
boom. A cooking video.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this, and this is just like all happening as you're doom scrolling before you go to bed, and like because like this is the world that we're living in. There's the world that we're living in. Like you could have a great fucking day, right? Like everything's going fucking great, and then boom, you get a notification, a bill you forgot just took out the last $200 in your fucking account. And you know what I'm saying? And you think like everything is fucking shitty, and then your friend calls you like, "Hey, you want to have dinner? Dinner's on me." And then you might still end the day on a good note even though some crazy shit just happened today, like that's life. That's life.
Yep. And I think, and there's Spin Cycle is my favorite song uh, on the album, and I think, and do Cards on the Table. That song very much reminds me of uh, the honeymoon period of first being with my wife, right? Who I've been with for 15 years. And but it's so beautiful because it captures like how awestruck you are in love, but how dog tired you are, right? Like I I'm so tired I can't even have sex with you. And I got a couple paid days. There's like a yearning to it. Like, can you imagine if we had each other all day? Like, wouldn't
Right.
that be great? So the exhaustion, the being at the end of your rope comes at the same time you're more fulfilled than you've ever been. It's happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you're trying to fucking survive and you have to work and the bills are there and also like there is someone there that means a lot to you and you're grateful for that person and you want to be able to show your love and appreciation to that person and also like I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I gotta be on the road. I gotta and it there's a nuance there that exists for all of us because like one of the things that capitalism takes from everyone is time and time away from our loved ones. And like and at the same time, like the thing that keeps you going a lot of days is the love of your loved ones and like wanting to provide for them and wanting to show up for them and like showing up for them a lot of times means showing up for capitalism because like I want to be able to pay my half of the rent, and I want to be able to like take us on a vacation. I want to be able to,
Mhm.
or our anniversary's coming up, so I gotta go work really hard because I want to do
Right?
something special for you. And like, yeah, yeah, uh, it's man, I don't know. Sometimes I fuck on my fucking hamster wheel.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it's definitely man. Yeah. The breadth of the emotional scope of the album is really quite beautiful. Yeah. Okay, did you have a favorite pocket of songs? Did you have a favorite run?
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be I was fascinated by the structure of the album. Like, like most music listeners have such a short attention span nowadays, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So if you were only to listen to the first four songs and be like, oh, this is another neo soul like R&B album and switch it, you would have completely missed
Right.
the, like the bulk of the album. And I just thought it was interesting to me, like how it started and what it evolved into. Like so I had a couple of things. Like, so like my favorite run of the album was probably like A Noche is my favorite song on the album, but
Mhm.
I thought Breakthrough, A Surrender, and In a Circle was
Oh,
my favorite run. But the most interesting run to me was that three-song run after Raisins with
six, seven,
Spin
eight.
Cycle, Dream Girl, and Merlot and Grigio. I think
Yeah,
that's
six,
Grigio.
seven, eight. Absolutely.
Like, because I was not like going from Spin Cycle to Dream Girl was just very very fascinating to me. It was almost because it was almost like out of left field to me in a lot of ways because I didn't
Awesome.
see it coming.
That's beautiful.
uh, when I first thought about this album, I thought about like just like skimming through radio stations
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of like I didn't execute that idea, but I still like had that as a loose reference.
Mm.
So like that kind of influenced the sequencing of the album.
Okay, that makes sense. So was starting it. I was starting out the album so R&B like intentional. Was that an intentional choice? Starting it so R&B heavy?
Um, well, okay, so it goes from Wake Up Bitch to End of the World, and
Right.
End of the World is this very R&B song, but
Mhm.
I guess I'm starting it at End of the World because this is how I feel about the world right now. This
Mhm.
so it's like I always start an album with like this is the place we're starting from, and then I end the album where I want to resolve it, and then everything in between the beginning and the end of the album is the story, you know. But I'm
Right.
starting at the end of the world because I'm like, I guess this is where I'm relating to people or attempting to relate to people. Like after the songs are written, I'm like, okay, I have End of the World, and I feel like this is the place that everybody's in, you know, in somewhere another, like the world as everybody's known it, especially in this last administration and the economy and the things that are happening globally, the world as we know it is gone. And there's a new thing happening and everybody feels the pain of that.
Yes.
Well, I'm like, okay, here we are together in this space.
Mhm.
And then as the songs move on, now I'm personalizing it to me and I'm telling you like this is what's going on with me and this is how I'm moving through it, you know. But it starts with End of the World. Um yeah, because that's that's just where the story starts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say 678K. Uh, Spin
Yeah.
Cycle, Dream Girl, Merlone Grigio. Merlone Grigio was amongst the first songs released, right, for the
Yeah.
album. Uh, I just fed it right into my bloodstream. I just couldn't stop listening to it. I was like, "There's nothing on the planet like this." And then I think Raisins was early on too.
Yeah.
And the fact that Raisins was so not Merlone Grigio made both songs better to me. Like I was like, oh shit, I'm not getting another one of either of these, right? And you're not going to get another Dream Girl. You're not going to get another like. So all the different chapters of this are important, you know. And so the 6, 7, 8 run to me like really symbolizes that. Um, yeah,
I feel like Raisins and a Surrender uh, come from the same place or
mm,
similar place. Um, Raisins came first, and Raisins, when I wrote Raisins, I was like, okay, yeah, you got an album. Like it was Raisins is the anchoring sentiment of the album, which is, you know, like I'm going for it. I'm gonna lose some, I'm gonna win some. Like I just it's a song about faith. Like
right.
I have no idea if this is gonna work for me, but I really fucking hope it does, you know? Like, I really fucking hope it does. And like a surrender is like the acknowledging that like this shit is a fucking wreck right now, you know? Like I just watched, you know, we all watching like children starving in Gaza, in the Congo, like our tax dollars are going to that shit. Like I'm in a fucking music industry that is like crumbling and the everywhere, you know, it's a fucking housing crisis. I'm from a city that's so gentrified that it's unrecognizable and like
Mm,
and I don't know what the fuck to do. But like
yeah,
I've if I don't believe in something bigger than myself, I'm gonna lose my mind. And it's like the last thing I've got is just the last fucking frontier is my mind. And so like I just have to choose to have faith.
yep.
And then we're gonna go into a circle because
Mhm.
like it's like you know there was this TikTok like kind of trend last year where people were like dancing in their rooms, and it was like the caption was me 30 seconds after or 30 minutes after having a breakdown, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Like I feel like a surrender is the breakdown, is the like, okay, God, like I'm fucking lost, and they say that you're the alpha and the fucking omega. Now's your time to shine, baby. And you cry and you have your moment, and then you dance it out. You have your dance break and you dance it out. And um that's probably that part that's probably one of my favorite moments in the album because
Yeah.
um it's like this is my humanity.
Right.
This is really what the fuck is going on with me and my thought process, and like what a day in my life looks like, like truly, like I'm always fucking crying and then having a dance break and just trying to find it in me to keep going.
Yeah, I mean it's that turn is such a great representation of the engine you've created to like process, the terrors of real life or, frustration or whatever you want to call it, but to process it into an energy you can use to move forward. Um, yeah, it's awesome. Like that's yeah. If listeners who check our stuff out, uh, listen to this album and enjoy it, but study the sequencing, study the track listing. A song like a Surrender is infinitely more uh, powerful where it is placed. You know what I mean? Where it is placed is important, and it is the glue song of the record to me. It's a very pivotal point. Um, yeah, that's awesome. Uh, yeah. So, Kay, do you have other questions?
No, no, I'm just excited to see what's coming from in the future, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Always follow. I purchase through Bandcamp. I recommend purchasing through Bandcamp. But yeah, stream as well. Um, yeah. So, uh, recommendation corner. This is where we just talk about what we're listening to. Uh, and I can kick off here. Uh, we just actually, oh, by the way, behind me, just to keep advertising, I'm going to keep it up on all the weeks until me and Kay are going to New York, uh, August, and on the 15th, we're going to actually have a showcase. Might be the heart of Brooklyn. I don't know much about it, Brooklyn, but Young Ethels, uh, and uh, all everyone on the bill is people that we've uh, had here on the show and have had a huge impact on how we understand music, which is why we do this. So it's going to be a great time, and yeah, everybody who comes, I appreciate it. I can't wait to link up with people in real life who we've been zooming with for years. So uh, August 15th, Young Ethels, get that out of the way. But the my we went on vacation and my son was bumping the clips, let God sort him out.
Mhm.
And he had a moment in the back of the car, Kay, where he said, "Can you put on the Birds Don't Sing? I think
Mm,
it's one of the best songs I've ever heard."
wow.
And and I could tell from like his pause, he was thinking about Nas Illmatic. He was thinking about Snoop and all the stuff that he's already heard Ice Cube's Predator. He's already heard this stuff. So um, he was like, "This is one of the best thing I've heard." And I was just excited to have him excited about a new album, especially from people who've been great at rapping for a long time. So yeah, love it. Uh, and one day I'll talk to him about how much I love Malice. Anyway, that's um I wanted to reiterate Dylan Green, Cinema Sci, writes for Pitchfork. He was on here. He gave a recommendation for an R&B album called With All Due Respect by
Yeah.
KWN. Do you remember this, Kay?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Oh, he don't miss. The like cool, I think it's Queen, incredible album. And the cool thing about it, Kay, 9 songs, it's a lustful album.
That's what he was saying.
He
Yes.
was saying it's sweaty, it's lustful. Like that's a different space, you know. And I love those kind of albums because everything doesn't have to be flower petals and shit. You know what I mean? Um, I like that. I like that. So it's really dope. Lustful without being predatory. Let me make that clear because there's a lot of that shit going on. Um, yeah, and I could do a third. Oh, I'm supposed to go on Secret House Against with Mega and Jet and talk about Open Mike Eagle, the Neighborhood Gods Unlimited, uh, which took me a while to get into because the sound's so different, uh, and it's kind of a hushed tone. But God, it's his best writing. It's just fabulous. It's a fabulous album. I can't wait to talk to my people in Tokyo about it. And yeah, that'll be dope. So yeah, shout out to Megan Jet always. Uh yeah, yeah, what are you listening to?
What am I listening to? I did listen to the new clips. Great
Yeah.
album. Um, what am I listening to? It's hard because I don't want to lie. I'm not really listening to a lot right now.
That's okay. That's
Um, I- um, I yeah, I'm mostly just like writing.
yeah, yeah.
I I feel bad because I want to be like and this and that, but right now I'm just writing. I'm watching The Wire. That's
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any albums that are like personal favorites to you that you feel like are underrated and people should check out?
um hmm albums that are personal favorites that I feel like people should check out.
I know one because you were on Pitchfork's Perfect 10.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's Brandy Full Moon, but I feel like yeah, I feel like people that's not an underrated album. I
No.
people know everybody knows like that's the album. That's why we have alternative R&B as a thing. Is because like Brandy made there's no Kalella and Raven Lene and
Sure.
even me without Brandy's Full Moon. Like that's the first like mainstream experimental like that album is like how Mary J. Blige is the reason we have like that real bridge between hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
Moon is why we have experimental R&B or what's experiment, like
Mhm.
genre bending R&B or it's the precursor to it, like okay, now we're gonna play with the sound. It's not just oohs and ahs. It's not traditional R&B anymore. Like now we're doing weird shit with it. Like
Right.
Full Moon is how we got there. That's the first thing. Um, the first contemporary thing, because like there's a whole bunch of other shit that Shalimar and
Yeah.
Bars and you know what I mean. Like there's other shit that
Right.
happens. Even Prince, even you know what I mean. Like all of that happens, but like in the contemporary space where we are now, like yeah, Brandy, Full Moon,
Right.
absolutely. But I think like in
And
the
a Chaka
R&B
Khan
space,
probably on that list, right? If you go back, like Chaka Khan did a lot of that kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like Shaka Khan is like how you get like a Erica Badu. I mean, vocally is how
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
Erica Badu, or like Napalm from Hiatus Coyote is
Mhm.
that's Shaka Khan. Like, yeah, but Brandy is how you get like, well, there's see, an artist like Brandy is so multifaceted because the Never Say Never era is a different kind of Brandy, but Full Moon, Brandy was in a different bag. Like the vocal arrangements, like that whole thing, the production is even experimental for that time. Like that, the
Sure.
Full Moon era Brandy is like a lot of the shit that's happening now, where like it's like, is this R&B? Yeah, this is R&B. Like the first traces of that is that album.
Sure. I'm with you. I'm with you. Great
100%.
sales pitch on that. The K, what are you bumping?
So obviously the clips. I would highly recommend for anyone who hasn't heard Hell Hath No Fury, go back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah.
from the clips. And then one of the joys, like I love coming across like a good Instagram or TikTok find when you're just scrolling Instagram or TikTok and this song comes on and gets your attention. So I was on Instagram like a week or two ago, and then there was an interview from this woman named Patrice Rushen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she had an album. It's called Straight from the Heart, but I think she was talking about a song called Forget Me Nots.
Of course, yeah.
So I've just been listening to that, and I'm really enjoying that project, I
Well,
should
how do you
say.
spell the last name? Is it R-U?
Rush, Rushen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the album is Straight from the Heart. Let me see if I can get the came
That's
out.
she got all the beads in her hair.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Beautiful.
it
Yeah.
just reminds me like there's just so much music that was coming out of that time that was just so advanced that a lot of people just haven't even heard of or come across. And just it was just surreal to me to come across this album for the first time due to Instagram in like 2025. So
Yeah, 82. Okay. I
yeah,
see that. I see that. Yeah, man. No, the 80s are they're, it doesn't feel like there's as much.
Oh, you gotta listen to Settle for My Love too. Settle for my
Settle
love.
for My Love. Okay.
It doesn't feel like there's enough coverage on 80s R&B. Like there's a nostalgia for 90s R&B, but
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like there's like and 70s people love 70s everything, right? But like the 80s, like I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of
That's my bag.
right.
80s music, like Patrice Rushen, Alicia Myers, Phyllis Hyman, all that shit right there, that's my shit. Like that whole era, like, and that's what New York used to sound like that. Like you I yeah, that's my shit. That's my shit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's why there's so much like Anita Baker keeps coming up, right? Like it's not there's never yeah. So hopefully that there's a revival there. I know that there's great Luther Vandross documentary and Teddy Pendergrass, so hopefully that'll keep rolling. Um, yeah. Thank you for taking the time, Yaya Bay. Uh, support, follow, stream, go to shows. This is this is an important artist doing important work, um, and follow the upward trajectory. You know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, the people keep, like, subscribe, comment, do stuff. I don't read the comments, but I'm sure that they're great. Um, yeah, thank you for everybody who's supported us, and uh, yeah, been patient with the growth. We're gonna keep rolling. Be good to one another.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow